The sky was broken. Huge alien ships burned in the clouds, falling like dying stars. The ground was shaking with every explosion. A war had just ended, but not in peace. Only destruction remained. Daniel walked through the ruins. He was tired, dirty, and his arm was bleeding. But he kept moving. He was not a fighter. He was a medic, trained to save lives. The battlefield was full of wreckage, metal parts, broken weapons. Bodies, human and alien, lay silent. He looked around, searching for survivors. Most were already gone. Only smoke and silence answered him. Then he heard something, a soft sound like a whisper. He followed the noise. Stepping over sharp metal and broken stone, under a destroyed alien ship, he saw her. She was different from any alien he had treated before. Her skin was silver, her armor cracked. Purple blood was coming from a deep wound on her side. Her eyes were closed, but her chest moved slowly. Daniel knelt beside her. Her breathing was weak, too weak. She was close to death. He knew her species, Zari. The Zari were strong, proud, and never asked for help. They were enemies, but right now, she was just a living being, a dying one. He touched her wrist to check her pulse. Suddenly, her eyes opened, golden and glowing. She stared at him with fear and confusion. Then she spoke, her voice soft and shaking. "No hospitals, ... They will kill me." Daniel looked around. He was alone, far from any safe zone. His medical kit was empty. No medicine, no plasma, nothing. He looked at her wound again. She had lost too much blood. He had one idea, but it was dangerous, he thought. Could human blood help her? No one had ever tried it before. Maybe it would kill her. Maybe it would kill him too. But if he did nothing, she would die anyway. Daniel made his choice. He took out a small transfusion device he always carried. He connected one tube to his arm, the other to her vein. His blood began to flow into her. At first, nothing happened. Then her body started to shake. Lights moved under her skin. Like fire, like energy, like something waking up. Daniel pulled back, shocked. He didn't know what he had done. Was she dying or changing? Her body stopped shaking. She became still again. Then, she opened her eyes. They were brighter now, glowing like stars. She looked at him, not with fear this time, with something else, something deeper, a strange connection. Daniel felt it too. He didn't understand it, but he felt linked to her somehow. She tried to sit up, but pain made her stop. Daniel gently helped her lean against a broken wall. "You should rest," he said softly. She didn't answer. Instead, her hand moved slowly to her stomach. Her eyes widened. A soft glow came from under her armor. She looked confused, scared, and amazed at the same time. Daniel noticed it too. "What is it?" he asked. She shook her head. "I don't know." The glow grew stronger. It was warm, calm, not dangerous, but it was not normal either. Daniel stared at her. Something was happening inside her, something new, something impossible. He had only given blood to save her life, but now she was changing, and something inside her had just begun. Neither of them spoke for a while. The battlefield around them was quiet now. Only the wind moved through the smoke. Daniel looked up at the sky. This war was supposed to end everything. But maybe, just maybe, something new had started, something bigger than both of them. Something no one was ready for. He looked back at her. She had closed her eyes again, resting, but her hand still rested on her stomach, protecting whatever had just begun inside her. And Daniel knew, deep in his heart, this was only the beginning. She opened her eyes to a soft light. It wasn't the battlefield. It wasn't the noise, the blood, or the fear. This place was quiet, warm, and strange. She was lying on a bed made from scavenged parts. Blankets covered her, and a soft hum filled the air. Daniel was nearby, working on something. Old wires, metal panels, and pieces of tech were spread across the floor. It looked like a small shelter hidden inside a broken ship. When he saw her eyes open, he smiled. "You're awake," he said. Gently. "I wasn't sure if you'd make it." She tried to sit up, but her body felt heavy. Pain shot through her ribs. Yet her wound, it was almost healed. Impossible. Her kind did not heal this fast, not without advanced tech, but she had no machine. No doctor, only his blood. She looked at her hands. They shimmered slightly. Her veins glowed faintly under her skin. She was not the same as before. Daniel handed her water. She drank it slowly, watching him carefully. He was not like the human she had fought. He was quiet, patient, and kind. "I found some food," he said. "It's not great, but it's safe." She took a bite, nodding. Neither of them spoke much. But the silence between them was not cold. It was calm. Later, as she stood near a broken mirror, she noticed something. Her reflection showed a soft glow around her stomach. She pulled back the cloth covering her belly, and what she saw made her breath stop. A pulse, not her, something else, something alive inside her. Her fingers trembled as she touched her skin. The glow responded, pulsing gently. She stepped back, shocked. Her body had never done this. This wasn't normal for her species. This wasn't normal for any species. She turned to Daniel, panic in her eyes. "There is something inside me," she whispered. "It wasn't there before." Daniel's face changed. He rushed to her side. He scanned her body with a small medical device he had repaired. It beeped, flickered, then stopped. He looked at the screen, confused. "There's a heartbeat," he said slowly. "Not yours, someone else's, something small." She grabbed his arm. "How?" she asked, voice shaking. "You gave me blood, not this." Daniel didn't know. He had only tried to save her now. Something new was growing inside her. They both sat down, trying to understand. He looked through old records, notes from crashed ships, ancient data logs. He found something strange. A theory, long forgotten, about humans being genetically compatible with older races, including the Zari, but no one had ever tested it. No one believed it, until now. He looked at her again. She was silent, still holding her stomach. "I don't know what this means," he said, "but it's real." She nodded slowly. "It feels alive," she said, "and it feels like both of us." That night, she didn't sleep. She stared at the stars through a crack in the ship's wall. Her people would never accept this. Her leaders would call it a curse, but part of her didn't care. This was no curse. It was a new life, born from blood, from war, from something neither of them understood. And somewhere in the shadows of the sky, someone was already searching for her. Someone who would not want this child to exist, but for now, in this quiet shelter, the heartbeat continued, soft, steady, and strong. The message arrived in silence, not through sound, not through speech. It was a ripple in the air, a psychic wave that touched her mind, cold, sharp, and full of command. "Return immediately, or be terminated." She froze. Her heart raced. Her hand moved protectively to her stomach. The glow was still there, the heartbeat still steady. Daniel saw the change in her face. "What is it?" he asked. She turned toward him slowly. "They know," she whispered. "My people, they know what happened." Far above the planet's surface, a Zari scout ship had picked up her biosignature. The signal was impossible to hide now. Her body was no longer fully Zari. Human blood ran in her veins, and something new was growing inside her. Something they feared. Daniel grabbed his bag, already moving. "We need to go," he said. "They'll be here soon." She followed him, her legs still weak, but her warrior instincts had returned. Even in fear, her body remembered how to survive. They ran through the ruins. The wind was stronger now, the sky darker, storm clouds forming above them like the anger of gods. Every shadow felt dangerous. Every sound felt like a footstep. Then, without warning, a sharp beam of light hit the ground. In front of them, they were found. A Zari hunter stood tall, armor glowing with red veins. He aimed a pulse weapon at them. His voice echoed through a translator chip. "You are charged with biological corruption. You will be cleansed." The woman stepped in front of Daniel. "This is not corruption," she said. "This is life." The hunter did not blink. "Your blood has been tainted." The child is an abomination, Daniel's heart dropped. Child. It was the first time anyone had said it out loud. Before they could move, the hunter attacked. A blast of energy flew toward them. The woman pushed Daniel aside and took the hit in her shoulder. She screamed but stayed standing. Daniel picked up a broken metal rod and charged. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't fast. But he wouldn't let them take her, not now. The hunter knocked him down with one blow. Blood ran from Daniel's mouth. The woman growled, her eyes glowing brighter than before. Power pulsed through her arms. She didn't understand it, but she used it. She raised her hand and released. A burst of energy, raw, wild, and bright. It hit the hunter and sent him flying into a wall. Silence followed. Smoke rose from the enemy's body. He wasn't dead, but he was unconscious. Daniel coughed, looking up at her. What was that? He asked. She looked at her hand, still shaking. I don't know, she said. But I think it came from the child. They didn't wait. They escaped deeper into the ruins, farther from the signal, but they both knew it wouldn't end here. The Zari wouldn't stop. They would send more hunters, stronger ones. And now, both of them were targets as they hid in a cold cave that night. Daniel looked at her. She was injured, scared, and silent, but stronger than he'd ever seen her. We're not safe, he said. No, she replied. But we're not alone. She touched her belly again, that quiet glow still alive, still growing, somewhere inside her. Something had changed, not just her body, not just her mind, but her purpose. She was no longer just a soldier. She was a mother now. And she would fight for this life, even if the universe tried to end it. The rain fell softly, it whispered, over the rocks and soaked the fabric of their torn clothes. Inside the cave, the fire crackled weakly. Their shadows danced against the stone walls like ghosts from two worlds. She sat across from him, silent, her silver eyes watching the flames. Daniel checked the bandage on her arm. The wound was healing faster than it should. Faster than was natural. This is not just your blood anymore, she said quietly. It's changing me. He looked at her closely. She seemed stronger, her senses sharper, but also different. More aware of everything around her, like she could hear things he couldn't, feel emotions not spoken. Do you feel it? She asked suddenly. He paused. Feel what? The heartbeat, she whispered, touching her stomach again. It's not just growing, it's listening. Daniel didn't know how to answer. He moved closer, unsure of what to say, in the flickering light. She didn't look like a warrior. She looked like someone searching for meaning. Just like him. For the first time, she asked him something personal. Why did you save me? He thought for a moment, then smiled faintly. Because I saw someone dying, and I didn't want them to. She blinked, slowly. In my world, we are trained to destroy threats, she said, not to help them. And do you still think I'm a threat? He asked. She looked away. I don't know anymore, she said softly. Everything I believed is breaking. For hours they talked, not about war or battles, but about little things, how Earth's oceans tasted like salt, how her planets' sky turned green during sleep cycles. He told her about music, about laughter, about how children on Earth used to chase each other in wide fields without fear. She listened with quiet wonder, as if she had never imagined a life without war. In return, she told him about stars that sang, about cities built in trees that touched clouds, and how her people once believed every child carried the memory of stars in their hearts. But that belief was lost long ago, buried under weapons and orders. Suddenly, her face grew dark. She pressed her hand over her belly. A sharp pulse hit her. Not pain, not fear, something else. A connection, I think. The child is learning, she said slowly. From both of us. Daniel leaned in. What do you mean? She looked at him, her eyes glowing softly. It reacts to our emotions, she said. It felt sadness when you spoke of your home. It felt calm when I listened. A silence passed between them, deep and strange. They were not just hiding anymore. They were forming something that had never existed. Not human, not alien, but something new. The rain stopped outside. The sky cleared, showing 2 moons above. Their pale light spilled into the cave, wrapping them in a quiet peace, but in that peace, danger still moved, above them. Satellites traced their heat signatures, in orbit. Another Zari vessel had locked onto her genetic trail, but they didn't know that yet. Not tonight. They simply sat by the fire. 2 enemies, now companions, 2 strangers, now protectors. Of the same small heartbeat, and in the stillness, Daniel whispered, "We might not survive this." She looked at him and replied, "Then we protect it until our last breath." The cave had grown quiet, but the silence was not peaceful anymore. It felt like a question waiting for an answer, something hidden just beneath the surface. Daniel stared at the old Zari device in his hand. It had been half buried in the soil. Near the crash site, dusty, cracked, but still alive, its light flickered weakly as he tapped its surface. "What is that?" she asked, sitting beside him. "Some kind of memory core," he replied. "Maybe it holds logs, messages, something from your side." She leaned closer, watching the device hum. "I thought all data was destroyed in the crash," she said. "Maybe this one survived." Daniel connected it to an old Earth scanner. The screen buzzed, then lit up. Symbols appeared. Ari language. She translated quickly, eyes widening with every word. "This isn't military data," she whispered. "It's older than that. It's genetic records." Daniel sat up straighter. "What kind of records?" She scrolled faster, her face pale now. "These logs talk about human DNA," she said. "Thousands of years ago, before the war." Daniel blinked. "Wait, you're saying your people studied us?" She nodded slowly. "Not just studied, engineered." The fire crackled beside them, casting long shadows across the cave. Daniel's heart pounded. "What do you mean, engineered?" She looked up at him, her voice low. "There was a time long ago when Zari scientists visited Earth in secret. They didn't come to destroy or invade. They came to create." Daniel tried to process her words. "They created us?" "No," she said. "They enhanced what was already there. They saw something in early humans, potential, raw, untouched. They added small pieces of Zari DNA into your bloodlines." Daniel felt cold. "So we're not fully human?" "You are," she said, "but also something more. Something forgotten by both sides." She turned the device to him. "There's more," she said. "The hybrid child. It's not just rare. It's the return of a connection that was lost for thousands of years. It's proof that we were never supposed to be enemies." Daniel stood slowly, his mind spinning. All this time, both races had fought, hated, killed without knowing the truth. They were not opposites. They were pieces of the same puzzle. And now, that puzzle had come back to life inside her. She touched her stomach. The glow was stronger tonight. The heart beat louder, as if the child had heard everything and understood. Suddenly, the memory core flickered again. A message played, a voice from the past. A Zari scientist, speaking softly in the old tongue. "If ever the bond is restored," the voice said, "protect it, for it will unlock the peace we failed to build." The message ended. Silence fell again. But it was heavier now, filled with meaning. Daniel looked at her. "We're carrying something important," he said. "Not just a child." She nodded, her eyes glowing with quiet strength. "A chance," she whispered. "A second chance for both our worlds." But before they could speak more, a loud beep echoed from the scanner, a tracking signal. The Zari warship above had detected them. A red light blinked incoming forces. Their time had run out. She stood quickly, pulling out her armor. Daniel grabbed his gear. Their faces were calm, but their eyes held fire. They no longer ran just to survive. They ran to protect the future of 2 species. The secret of human blood was no longer a mystery. It was a message, a warning, a key, and someone out there wanted to destroy it. Asterisk. The sky turned red. Not from sunset, but from fire. The Zari warship had broken through the clouds. Its engines screamed above the ruined valley, hunting only one thing, Inside the shattered shelter, the air crackled with pressure. Daniel helped her into a protective vest made from scraps. Her eyes were sharp now, glowing brighter with every passing hour. The child inside her was no longer silent. She could feel its thoughts, not words but signals. Fear, warning, power. It knew danger was coming. Daniel checked his old pulse rifle. It was heavy, cracked, and unreliable, but it was all he had. He looked at her. "You should run," he said. "You're the one that matters now." She shook her head. "There is no more running, only standing." The ground trembled as 3 Zari hunters landed. They stepped from their dropships like giants, armored in black, weapons charged, their faces hidden, their orders clear. "Eliminate the hybrid," one said through a cold voice amplifier. "Alive or unborn," said the second. "The traitor dies with it." "Finish the third." Daniel raised his weapon, standing between them and her. "Not today," he said. He didn't care if he was outnumbered. He didn't care if this was the end. Because this wasn't just a fight, it was a message. If they wanted the child, they have to go through both of them. The hunters moved fast, faster than Daniel could aim. One rushed forward, blade drawn, but just as the strike came down, a pulse of golden light exploded between them. It wasn't from a weapon. It was from her, the mother, the protector, the changed. She stepped forward, her body glowing with fire and energy. Her hands pulsed with strange light. Not Zari, not human, something new. The blast threw the attacker across the rocks. Even the other hunters stopped, stunned. Her voice rang out like thunder. "You will not touch this child." The second hunter opened fire. Plasma bolts filled the air. Daniel dove behind cover. Returning fire, sparks flew, metal shattered, the cave walls crumbled. She didn't run. She walked straight into the blasts. The energy hit her, but didn't burn her. It wrapped around her like armor. The child inside her was protecting her. Its power flowed through her veins. Every heartbeat was a weapon. Every breath, a shield. The third hunter tried to attack from above, but she raised her hand and time seemed to bend. Rocks lifted from the ground, spinning in the air. With a flick of her wrist, she launched them forward. The hunter crashed into the cliffside. Armor broken. Daniel stared in disbelief. This wasn't the woman he had rescued. This was a force neither side had ever seen. One hunter remained, wounded but proud. He stepped forward slowly and removed his helmet. He wasn't just a soldier. He was her brother. Their eyes met. Old memories returned in a single glance. He had trained beside her, fought beside her, and now stood against her. "Sister," he said softly, "you were chosen for greatness. This child is not greatness. It's a threat." She looked at him, pain and power in her gaze. "No," she replied. "This child is the future. A future without war, without hatred." He lifted his weapon, but his hands were shaking. She didn't move. "I won't fight you," she said, "but I won't let you kill hope." The silence held for a long moment. Then slowly he lowered his weapon. His eyes filled with something rare regret. He turned and walked away, the last of the hunters gone. The fire faded. The sky turned calm. The battle was over. For now, Daniel rushed to her. She was exhausted, trembling. He caught her before she collapsed. "You did it," he whispered. She smiled weakly. "No," she said. "We did it." And inside her, the child pulsed with light, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. It had chosen to fight. It had chosen to live. The world was quiet again, but it was not the same world. Something had shifted, not in the sky, not in the ground, but in the hearts of those who had survived. Daniel sat on the edge of a cliff. The wind brushed his face, gentle and cool, behind him. The cave still held the hum of new life. The woman rested inside, wrapped in warm blankets. Her breathing was slow, her body still recovering, but the glow from her stomach had changed. It was no longer just a heartbeat, it was a rhythm, a song, a signal of something ready to be born. The child was coming, not in weeks, not in months soon. Daniel closed his eyes. He had faced death. War and fear. Now he was afraid of something else. The future. Would the world accept what they had created? Would it understand what it meant? Or would it try to destroy it again? Footsteps behind him broke the silence. She had walked out of the cave, her armor gone, her silver skin glowing in the early light. She looked stronger, but softer too. "The child is ready," she said. Daniel stood and faced her. "Do you feel okay?" She nodded slowly. "I feel complete." They stood together as the sun rose. Its light painted the sky gold, and for the first time, they didn't feel like fugitives. They felt like parents. Suddenly, a ship appeared in the sky. Not Zari. Not human. A diplomatic cruiser, white and silent. It hovered gently, then landed on the grass far below. Daniel reached for his weapon, but she stopped him. "No," she said. "This is different." From the ship came ambassadors, both human and Zari, leaders who had heard whispers of what happened. They had come not with threats, but with questions. The child's existence had changed everything. It was no longer a myth. It was real, living, breathing, powerful, and both sides wanted to understand, to learn, to hope. A table was placed between the rocks. Old enemies sat across from each other. And for the first time in generations, they listened. She stood before them, her hand resting on her belly. "This child is not a weapon," she said. "It is not a mistake. It is the truth we all forgot." Daniel stepped forward. "We were never meant to be enemies," he said. "We were meant to evolve together." The leaders said nothing at first. Then slowly, one by one, they nodded, not in full agreement, but in understanding. A fragile peace began that day. Not with a treaty, not with a speech, but with a child, born from blood and war, born from sacrifice and trust, born to remind both species that life can grow even in ashes. Weeks later, in a quiet hidden valley, the child was born, neither fully human nor fully Zari. Its eyes were silver and brown, its hands glowed with soft light, and when it cried for the first time, the sky shimmered just for a moment, as if the stars were watching and smiling.